I say.
Should have had him come on and lead us.
Did a very good job.
Oh, I'm sorry. If you would please remain standing for a brief moment. As we remember those that have given their life for our country, both abroad and here, and especially in our own community, Donald Wood. Thank you. We'd like to welcome everyone here today. Before we begin with the agenda item comment, I would like to welcome Detective Torpy and his family to the meeting, along with everybody, but especially Detective Torpy and his family. And I say that because before it was Officer Torpy, and now it is Detective. And I want to congratulate him. And if we could, a round of applause. At this time, I'd like to invite Detective Torpy up with our chief.
Don't worry, Rod, I can make you swear in or anything. In case some of you may or may not have known, last month the village board took the opportunity to promote Officer Torpy to Detective Torpy, so his official date was effective February 26th. We never got the opportunity, however, to do something formally in the public and in front of the board. So tonight, what we want to do is we want to recognize your dad, your husband, for rewarding him for his hard work. It's a very prestigious position. It's not a position that anybody gets. You have to earn it. And Officer Torpy, now Detective Torpy, has demonstrated the qualities that it's going to take to fulfill the position of detective. And as he knows, there's a lot of work to be done here. And I'm very confident, and the board is very confident, that he's going to help us achieve our goals. So on behalf of the village board and myself, we'd like to congratulate you, Detective Torpy, to reaching the rank of detective.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, Jim. How you doing, buddy? Last time I saw you was in McLeod's,
There you go.
Wake.
Just as an example of how and why we have come to this, hopefully most of you remember a number of months ago or last year, our then Officer Torpy was responsible for identifying a Kingston bank robber, and that led to the arrest. So that just is a wonderful precedent, and boy, bring that here.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
No, thank you.
Nice meeting you.
take it, guys.
That is great, Dad.
Thank you.
Great. That is great.
Congratulations. Your dad does a good job.
I need to take him for ice cream.
Any other comments on the agenda? Sir. Department head reports. Wastewater?
February, average volume 0.440 million gallons a day, 4.6 inches of precipitation. Facility met all speedies and DEC permit limitations. Pebble Lake Pump Station, Haven Road facility checked regularly and operating properly. Filter press in operation 6 days that month. Facility personnel work snow removal and with street 4 days on plowing, I guess. Chief John Jones, operator, attended department head meeting, Chief John Jones attended department head meeting on the 10th, budget meeting on the 23rd. Patrick Kelly performed annual cleaning, service of digester, boiler burner, control maintenance, building boiler and burner. Sanitary sewer system, 2 men rotted and cleared sewer main routes, Glen Road. Marked out 7 sewer mains during the month, as per USPO notices. Maintained and lubricated pumps, motors, and machinery as required. Maintenance of buildings and grounds as time allowed, 23 days. Man hours lost due to sick, vacation, personal leave, and compensatory leave time, 12 days. Gas consumption, 93 gallons. That's it.
Thank you. Treasurer?
Okay, good evening, Board. Topics for March. The revenue expense control report was provided for the board. Nothing really that eye-opening as far as the numbers on there. Couple highlighted items that I can go over with the board or at some other point. The main thing, and this really comes to our A fund. We continue to have pressure on our A fund, especially on the contractual end. Okay, so I do want to just state to the board and recommend that we consider either a freeze on only essential spending in the A fund for the 04 contractual, or prior to purchases, the department heads contact Anna to check to make sure that their fund has the adequate resources to take care of the spending. I've got some bills right now that are not supported in that fund, so that we're gonna have to do some transfers to support it. But with 2.5 months left, I just want to ask the board to consider putting out some type of preliminary freeze where there's another set of eyes looking at the expenditure to make sure that it reaches an essential requirement. With the snow and all the costs we had for salt and all the necessary sundries that go along with that, it's putting strain on every municipal budget, and ours is no exception, okay? Budget preparation continues. Tentative budget is due Friday. We're pretty much along. The last two main areas are salaries as to what we want to do with them, and as far as debt service, I have an updated tentative rough that I'll give to the board after the meeting, and we can talk about how do we want to handle certain areas where we could increase our contribution to debt service to pay down our debt a little quicker, or we could earmark funds for some other things. So we'll go over some of that, and then if we do have time, we can talk some of the salaries. As long as we have some definitive determinations by close of business tomorrow and or latest Wednesday, then I'll have plenty of time to compile the remaining information for Friday's tentative budget that I'll submit to the village clerk. The van public offering that we held earlier or late last month was extremely successful. 1.532 million was put up for public bid, and the results of our bid was 0.48%, which is less than 0.5% for our money. That equates to around $7,300 in interest rate expense, where if we had used last year's setup, it would have been $30,000 in interest rate expense. Once we take fees that are required for the public offering, our net benefit is $18,000 by going this route with our debt service versus traditionally working with some of the more local banks. So it's proven to be extremely valuable, putting money back into the taxpayers' hands as far as village taxpayers are now having their money go toward other things rather than debt service. So it was a very, very fruitful endeavor. As I reviewed with the board a week ago, we did the full auditor's review. That went well. Copies to review if any public citizens would like to look at the audit. The village clerk does have a copy and they can take a look at it if they choose to. Hoffman Equipment, after many hours in review dealing with Hoffman and who said this and what the insurance company said, what the repair company said, we finally were able to get a a $2,400 discounted rate on our repair of the loader. And we still have to follow up with the insurance company for the other half of that. So we're looking at maybe shaving $5,000 off of that invoice, so that's significant. Hopefully we have the success with the insurance company that we did with Hoffman. So that pretty much completes topics. The last topic I already covered, which is a contractual freeze. Any questions? Obviously, I know we got pretty much budget 24/7, but just wanted to put out if there's any questions.
I just want to thank you, because I know not just budgetary time, but on these two specific items, you spent a lot of additional time to save us. People may not be aware, normally on the finance, if we're lucky, we're looking at maybe 3,000-ish. Okay, so for those who didn't pick it up, 18,000. $15,000 difference by doing a little extra work. I say a little because I didn't have to do any, but Ed did, and I appreciate all the time that went into it. As well as the loader. Rather than just paying the bill, fought tooth and nail, 5,000 here and a little bit on the insurance end as well. And I want to thank Gina Taylor also for putting a lot of extra time into that, again, to save the taxpayers' dollars.
Yeah, and especially the village clerk has been highlighting some of these items and things that are financial in nature, we'll try to pick up, because a lot of times it's easy to just say, you know what, we're not gonna worry about it, it's just too much
Right.
work. But when you're dealing with thousands of dollars of the villagers' money, you know, it's a worthwhile endeavor, and I appreciate the comments, thank you.
Thanks, Lou.
Thank you.
All right. Saving taxpayers money.
Yeah, senior center. Get to it. Ready.
No, I'm sorry. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm standing up here this time. So just a quick update. The floors were finished. They were sealed today. They look beautiful. I was actually in there. They look very nice. We did get also a carpet donation from Ray Alter and his company. They did a nice area carpet that we have now in there, so that's looking very good. Tomorrow is the cleaning, tomorrow afternoon, and our first official activity is senior yoga. It's gonna be there on Tuesday morning, starting on the 24th. Our next scheduled event is on the 26th for fraud and identity theft protection from Navy Federal Credit Union. And of course, any other group that wants to use it, all you have to do is get with a member of the committee, email us, we're on Facebook, call us, and we'll get you on the calendar and get you set up with access to the building. Another good thing was the Rotary Club was there and toured the building. Unfortunately, they were there when it was under full construction, but that was okay. They have so far committed to donating forsythia bushes for the back grass courtyard area to help block some of the neighboring things for the neighbors and for the seniors, and they said more things are possible. From that, we also got other community members that are members of Rotary that have offered to make donations. So that was quite exciting. There are two things that we'll ask for approval for. You'll have to do this under new business, I'm sure. We have two community volunteers that would like to be at the center. One person Monday through Friday from 12:30 to 2:30. So we would have open time from 12:30 to 2:30. And then I have another community volunteer that would like to be there on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10:30 to 12:30. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 12:30 to 2:30, Tuesday, Thursday, 10:30 to 2:30, which is a really nice beginning. If you need their names to make that approval.
I've met the one.
And the other is Kathy Rose.
Okay, no,
Right, so we have, if you need the, I don't know if you need the names, but I'll stay until that's done. The other thing we'd like to ask for is to be able to put a Pepsi machine in there. You know, we're planning on having coffee and such, but Pepsi does a full service.
Right.
Pepsi, it costs us nothing, they actually will give us 15% of the sales, not that it'll really be much. But we wanted to keep the price down of the soda, instead of raising the price of the soda, getting more of a percentage, we'll take a lower percentage to keep the cost at just $1 a can. But it's full service, we do nothing but let them plug it in. So I'll ask if you can approve that under new business also. Is that something we can do, Ms. Gina? Okay, yeah, so we'll ask for that under, if you can do that under new business for a Pepsi machine. And cable just called me this evening, and they will set up installation for this week, so we will have it before yoga gets there.
Excellent.
I think that's it.
Congratulations.
For this
It's fantastic. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Any questions?
Nope.
Nope, good.
Motion to approve the two part-time.
Fran,
Yes.
is the one, are these for like a forever type status? These two people, or is the one the community service person?
One is community service,
What's
which would
gonna
be
happen?
at least 15
So, I don't think we
weeks.
need to- That's just someone volunteering. Okay.
Right.
The other person,
The other person
Bill?
is a community person.
for community service, for someone doing community service in the building, we don't need to approve that, do we? There's no community service in the building. The other person's volunteering as a monitor in the building, that we can approve, because that's like a normal,
They're-
Community person.
And they're on the committee too.
correct. Okay, thank you.
Do you need a motion on the Pepsi machine?
We'll do both those when we get to new business. Okay. Mayor's report, for those who saw the planes overhead, West Point celebrated their birthday today, so happy birthday to West Point. The planning board meeting will be meeting Thursday, March 19th at 7 PM in the upstairs meeting room. This is a change to their normal schedule. So that's the planning board will be meeting Thursday, March 19th at 7 PM in the upstairs meeting room. We had our, actually, I'll do that first. I want to thank Doreen Galou. I didn't know you were going to be here, and I was already doing that. So, and here's why I want to thank her. Because when things happen and somebody gets upset, half the time or 9 times out of the time, they get upset, they talk to their friends, everyone gets upset, and then it just sits there. What we need in this community is exactly what Doreen did. Doreen picked up the phone, she was upset with something, she picked up the phone and asked the questions. That's what needs to be done, because then it can get settled. And this is just one issue, it could be anything. Could be something about your yard, could be something about something that happened. But if there is something out in the community, we can't help you if we don't know what was the situation. And I'm hoping that we can work through this. There was at our last board meeting, there was a presentation, and some people thought that I may have been laughing when Mr. Galou left the place, possibly disrespecting him.
Not just you.
I know that, but I want to let everyone know, this board has the utmost respect for Tony Galou, and in no way was that at any way aimed at Tony. So I want that to be said. And if for some reason of any of my actions, though it wasn't aimed at him, I want to apologize if we made him feel bad, or any of his family members, because in no way was it aimed at Tony. And I just want that clear. And again, apologies to the family if it hurt them anyway, but it wasn't coming that way. Also, this past weekend, we raised the Irish flag. And I want to thank Bernie Cassidy and Bernie's family for coming out. Very large Irish traditional, you don't need any extra seats if just the family shows up when you get an Irish flag raising. So I would like to congratulate Bernie on Irishman of the Year raising the flag. Just give you a little information for those that missed the raising. He was born in 1939 in Manhattan, of course of Irish parents, from County Cavan. I know I said it wrong, but he corrected me day of. He grew up in the northeast Bronx in Throgsneck and met his wife Carolyn, niece Sheehan, when working at Pan Am in New York. They were married in 1963, and within a year and a half they moved up to Fort Montgomery. They lived in the same house for 50 years, where they raised 6 children, and are now the proud grandparents of 14 children. He joined the New York City Fire Department just before moving to the fort, and commuted to work for 36 years. For most of his career, he worked in the South Bronx and in Harlem, where he retired as the battalion chief in 2000. Just one of the examples of the great people that live in our community. Here in the audience, we have the gentleman who raised the flag last year, Mr. Grant. Another fantastic example of who we have, and that needs to be pointed out. Just like when we put the certificate on the wall for Mr. Brown, we need things to shoot for. People need to have, that's what I want to do. I want to be able to be that person. Why did he get to raise the flag? Because of how he carries himself in the community and what he does for the community. Why did he get a plaque up on the wall? Because of the many years that he gave service to this community. So we have to have more examples, better examples for our children and for our 20, 30, 40-year-olds to start stepping up again. We need you. Thank you. New business.
Quick fire report.
Oh, I apologize, Honor. Yes, fire report, go ahead.
Just two quick items. The fire department is having their annual Palm Sunday pancake breakfast on March 29th. That's obviously Sunday morning. And then in April, Saturday, April 18th, the auxiliary will host again the annual Penny Social, which was a tremendously popular event. That's it.
Excellent. New business, approve the minutes. I need a motion to approve the minutes for the regular meeting, March 2nd, 2015, budget meeting, February 25th, 2015, budget meeting, March 2nd, 2015, budget meeting, March 4th, 2015, and budget meeting, March 10th, 2015.
So,
I have a motion, Mr. Brown, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Mellon, all those in favor?
aye.
Opposed? I need a motion to approve the notice of bid for grass cutting services for the fiscal year 15-16. Do I have a motion to put out the bid? I have a motion from Anthony, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Brown, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I have a resolution. Whereas a donation of $1,100 has been received from various individuals for the art walk, and whereas this revenue has been designated to offset the cost for the art walk. Now, therefore, be it resolved that due to an unanticipated revenue from various individuals, the Board of Trustees approve an amendment to increase the appropriation budget A 7120.04 beautification to $1,100 and the revenue code A2705 gifts and donation for $1,100 for fiscal year 2014-2015. Roll call. Oh, do I have a motion?
Motion, so moved.
Charlie, second.
Second.
Bob, roll call.
Trustee Farina?
Aye.
Trustee Mellon?
Aye.
Trustee Brown?
Aye.
Trustee Murphy?
Aye.
Mayor Flynn?
Aye. I have a budget transfer, wastewater contingency to workers' comp, amount of $500. Do I have a motion?
So
Do.
Mr. Brown, Mr. Mellon, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I have a motion for a budget transfer from sewer contingency to workman's comp sewer for $500. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Bob, Charlie, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I have a transfer from snow removal to street maintenance equipment in the amount of $10,008. Do I have a motion? Mr. Brown, do I have a second?
Second.
Anthony, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I have a motion for a budget transfer from contingency to street maintenance equipment in the amount of $1,000. Do I have a motion?
I'll move.
Anthony, do I have a second?
Second.
Charlie, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I have a request from Vision to hold the farmer's market on Sunday, from June 14th to November 1st, 2015, in municipal lot number 2, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion from Mr. Mellon, do I have a second?
Second.
Charlie, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I need a motion to accept the bills and claims for fiscal year 14-15, the amount of $101,059.43. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to pay the bills and claims
I have a motion, Mr. Brown, do I have a second, Anthony, all those in favor?
I-
Opposed? We're gonna deal with the discussion matter at our next meeting as well as the Mastriani matter. Any questions? No?
Did you do my soda machine?
No, I can't do that this meeting. Do I have a motion to approve that we put a soda machine in the senior center?
so moved.
Charlie, you have a second?
The 15% of sales, was it discussed if we don't get any of the sales back, if the price of the soda would be lower?
No, she
Because
said
the
she said the lowest I would go is $1. Normally it's $1.50.
Right. I
Yeah.
mean, just because the seniors are paying for the soda, most of the seniors are gonna be buying the soda, and they're kind of donating 15 cents themselves.
Back
I'm just
to, right,
wondering-
back to their
Right, which
coffee
is
fund.
fine. I'm just wondering if the soda would be 85 cents. it
I
might
can
be
ask.
Better. That's all.
We have to pay the electric on the machine.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, we'd have to pay the electric on the machine.
Fran, is it just Pepsi or,
Okay.
you know,
All Pepsi
cola?
products.
So it's other types of drinks? not-
Right, it won't be Coke,
Yeah.
but it will be Pepsi
Bring the
products.
machine in, we don't have to, we can change percentages later. You don't wanna bring the machine at all?
No, I do want to.
Okay. We don't have to say 15%, we just put it.
Right, we're just approving, you're approving the machine and I can come back with
You can put
prices.
your beer on the bottom.
I like getting snack. Not for me.
I'll be there often then. So
I
I
might
have a
go.
motion to approve, bring a Pepsi machine into the senior center. I have a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I also need a motion to accept Kathy Rose as a volunteer monitor for the senior center. Do I have a motion? Mr. Brown, do I have a second? Anthony, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public comment.
My turn? I was here 2 weeks ago. They're bringing like a little sketch.
Are you taking these back? Are you taking these back? Are you taking these with you?
Does he want to take
Oh, I just wanna know if you wanna just pin them up on a wall or you wanna take them back. Because we can do that. Okay.
This little thing. This is Villa Parkway. This is where there's one house built. And this is what the sketch, the builder actually drew for me. And for the use here, whether it be townhouses, rentals, or apartments, this is something that they would look like. If they're not different building.
These are the ones across from,
No, they're the ones that they built in Newburgh.
oh, okay.
So he said according to this here, if we're doing this apartments, we get like at least 70 in here. If you do apartments, you get over 100. in this one.
Now, is this both pieces or just yours?
This is the whole piece. This is my piece, this is my brother's piece.
Got it.
Where, is this Myers? Yeah. Is that where Myers is?
And this is you over here, right?
No, here, this is my brother's piece.
No, I mean, there's a house or something over here. The exit.
Oh, yeah, my brother's house is here.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because we go around all that. So I just wondered, we have to put a schedule.
Right.
We'll do a little better than this, but I'll come back with a better.
No, this gives you, this gives us a good understanding.
What is the zoning on Aristotle property that runs, butts up to this?
It's farmland. All their lands are farmland.
Okay, and that's what it's zoned on the map over there?
Zone for farmland.
Right. That's what,
I mean,
that's the exemption.
yeah, the farmland's exemption, I don't think there's a farmland.
zone though.
Yeah. You know, last week we were having this conversation, I'm just wondering, like I told Jimmy tonight, I said, I don't know how we got this.
because we would be giving spot zoning change, and that's not something we've ever done. I said, well, I would rely on a planning board referral on this matter, not, we're not the experts here. All we do is. I know, but when they give you.
But
papers
in
and
no
they
way we're
say-
trying to give you the runaround,
No.
but we're gonna need, and that's what we said last time, we're gonna need something from
Yeah.
the planning board, as well as something from, before we change anything, we definitely need to know what the scope.
Bill?
Yeah, there's a couple things you wanna know here. First of all, label the surrounding zone. I think Aristotle is a 7,500 for a single-family residence, 7,500 square feet. It's a R3. That's what it looks like on the map.
Yeah.
And then, there's a B2 up on the highway, I don't know where that is, over here. So you wanna label,
This piece of property back here belongs to the village,
Right.
Right.
village of Highland Falls. And
That's not
the town owns your buildings up here someplace.
Right.
Yeah, this is the 5 acres behind the village.
Yeah. But this is the one that,
what about the topograph, this is topographical here. The coastlines here look like it's pretty steep.
elevation,
And the lines that are far apart over here are a little flatter. So, with all that kind of stuff is a conversation with somebody in the planning, more
yeah.
than the village.
if you leave this with, I'll make sure Jimmy and I kind of go over this and I
All
just,
right,
because you know, we do have the authority, but it would not be something that we would do because we're not, don't know anything about the planning and the zoning down here. We would just, you know, Jimmy said, well, this is the project, this meets all our requirements, blah, 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 then we have a decision to make. But, you know, this is not our field of expertise, so it's kind of, we're gonna have to have a conversation.
From Jimmy.
What's that?
But he said he would talk.
Yeah, I'll talk to Jimmy and I'll see, yeah,
No.
go back and forth.
We're just-
No, I'm trying
You're
to,
doing this.
yeah, I'm trying not to get to bouncing back and forth here.
Right, right.
what we're talking about here is an island of, from what I just understood you to say, a fairly dense population. If we were talking about non-traditional one house on a lot kind of thing. And that's really going to take a lot of thinking through by the planning board more than the
Well,
village.
you know, I'll make sure, right around the corner here, this is Village Park,
Yes.
there's apartment houses, and then
Well,
north
that
of
might
that,
be-
there's townhouses.
That might be a good argument for you, but not here. That would be at the planning board where you're here. You want to be able to lay out how it can work rather than just say, I'm going to come and here's what you're going to see. Because to be able to do this as a site, without what you're talking about, it takes a lot of work for either an engineer or somebody who knows how to lay out something like this to make it even a possibility. In the absence of understanding what the earth is, what the topograph is, the board shouldn't really be making any kind of a decision there. You have only the very barest of information so far for that. You need quite a bit more. So I'm going to make sure that you understand. You're not getting bounced around. You do need to be able to say something to the planning board, to get some questions out of them, to be able to respond so that you know that the whole body of information you need before you come out here.
How many units, yeah, I mean, tentatively, how many in each one? Is this 4 in each one?
These are all fours.
Just that.
There's
Every one is
seven,
a-
it's written down here someplace.
Okay, so these are,
Oh, yeah?
Right here, there you go. There's 70 townhouses and 100 apartments.
if you leave this with me, I'll get it to Jimmy and we'll have a conversation and he'll have, I'm sure he'll have a ton of questions for you. I mean, you know, and I'll tell you, some of it may be good, some of it may not be so good, I don't know. I know that it doesn't comply with the zoning and that's where you're at, kinda, we really don't do any of that. But I'll make sure that he has this and he has a list of questions for you and you can address them and go
Well,
from
what
there, I
I'll
guess.
do is,
Is it near a sewer
let
line?
me go.
There's no sewer in there.
get maps made,
Well,
Yeah.
we'll leave this for now, let's, I'm not
Yeah, we
gonna
gotta,
do a runaround.
you,
on this
no,
stuff.
we gotta have
So we'll-
something to give to them, rather than just say, it's kinda like this, Jim. At least if you leave something like this, and we got, I understand that these are 4 units on each building.
these are sixes.
Oh, there's 6, okay, that's, okay, 6 units here?
Yeah, six, fours, and 6 of them.
Okay.
So this is just rough, I mean, I
Yeah.
talked, this is from the one building.
Yeah, but you still have to have something that I can kinda dump on his table that's not so open, sort of,
Okay, well, we wanna put, these houses back there.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's,
I'll leave you these
that's,
printed, you just wanna keep
That's
it,
what
but.
Well, I'm gonna bring them to,
okay,
Jimmy.
we'll leave them for what, how long?
I don't know, there's a meeting Thursday night, I'll make sure, planning board meeting Thursday night?
The 19th.
I'm gonna go to the 19th and I'll give them to Jimmy and
Okay,
Thursday night is a planning board meeting?
yes, there is.
okay,
7 o'clock?
all right, we'll do that, and then, cause we just don't wanna do all this.
Don't wanna put a lot of time into it if it's not gonna come out of
Yeah,
it, I
I was
agree.
gonna say,
Well,
But we also, at the same time, we don't wanna put a lot of our time into it and then all of a sudden turn you down.
Right.
We wanna make sure before anyone gets started, it's feasible,
yeah.
because we want to improve the land, there's no question about it,
This
I want more
one-
tax money.
It's a
So
small
we just
thing.
have to make
A lot of
sure,
tax money.
right, I just wanna make sure that it's gonna be right for the village, that's all.
Also physically possible, I need an engineer, someone
Well,
actually
definitely
say.
we get an engineer to
Right, well,
do
that's
any of
what-
this before we turn it over.
No, actually, but we would actually need something in writing saying, from someone saying that it can be done, because we don't know.
Exactly, when we
Right.
get there,
yeah.
but we're
I
not gonna put all
understand.
that money into it.
If we're not gonna change the zoning
Get there.
guide,
Yes.
Because
I
we've
understand.
tried that before.
My water and
to-
sewer lines are back here,
How big is the
So
lateral,
we tried
sewer
to do
lateral
it
back
before.
here?
8-inch.
And where does it come in, right down from my house, right down to, on your, right up that way?
The sewer line,
Because that is a real good thing to know, because, where the sewer lateral would be fed from, where the water main comes into this property, because these are all questions that he's gonna ask me, and if they're not on here, I'm not gonna have an answer for
What
it.
you want to be able to do when you go to the planning is to tell them where the access to the sewer, and access to the surface water drainage.
Right. You know what, Tony, if you leave it with me, I'll see Jimmy, and I'll get a host of questions for you, and you can, they'll come back, and you can address those questions, and then you go to the planning board. From that point on, at least you have some information on you, rather than coming in with nothing on paper.
Okay,
Because
well, we
there's
just
a-
were told we had to come here first, so this is where we came. And
Yeah, I know,
it's
that's
like,
why I
again, there's
was
another
stumped on
runaround,
that,
so-
because
these 3 lines are water, sewer, and storm drain, they come back to here.
and what do you have as far as the water main back there? And where does it come in?
8-inch, they all come off of Cedar Lane.
Okay, so it's an 8-inch
Right here.
sewer main,
8-inch sewer.
and how big is the water line? 8-inch water?
18-inch stone.
8-inch water line comes back on that property?
Yeah,
Really? Okay,
I spent a lot of money on that.
okay. And then the storm drain?
So far,
18-inch,
Okay, all right.
because that's all that was across the street, so I
Alright.
didn't want to make it no bigger, it doesn't make any sense.
I'll get this to Jimmy, and at least he can review them, not formally, but he can say, here's, I got a ton of questions, Anthony. Look at these, answer these questions, get this back to me, and then maybe get on the planning board.
You see, I'm not trying to be the engineer on this project, I just want to change
Right.
the zoning and
So we could get an
sell my
engineer to go
property.
in here.
Well, the only problem with changing of zoning, I would think that somebody has to be the engineer prior to that. Because some of the questions that they're gonna ask you, is this feasible? Is the runoff, have you done the impact study and all that stuff on something like this? These are questions they're gonna ask you. And without that, I think you may be dead. Bill? is
there's
it-
a couple things that you want to have. Traditionally, when a person comes before one of the boards, he has an idea of how many bedrooms will be in how many units. That's an important thing. And the reason the board wants to know that is that there is a relationship between tax coming in and the cost of supporting the inhabitants who would possibly live in these units. If you have a 5-bedroom place and you want a 3-bedroom place and another 4-bedroom place, families who buy those are people who have larger families, and that will cost a fair amount of money. But if it costs a fair amount of money, the village or the municipality will say, well, now what will the taxes be? Are we gonna lose our shirts on this, or are we going,
Better than having to lose.
I'm not making, I'm just saying, that's what the kind of theme that people like yourself will take to the planning board when you come in there and talk with them about these things. You want a little bit better topograph, and you'll be able to get that maybe by Googling or some other kind of way to get a better topograph. They have to know how that topograph works with relation to the surface water drainage and where it's gonna go, the sewers, how deep those lines have to go, things of that sort. If it's going downhill, easier than if it's going uphill.
We do have the benefit, you know,
I
the
thought it
net
was in
cost
Dover.
of the development
Well,
for
he built
us
his home in
is
Dover.
relatively low because we've got capacity in our
There's
schools.
a new concern.
So that isn't,
There's many more
So
concerns.
you're saying that
than
because you have capacity at school, you don't want to have any more?
no, just the opposite.
Oh.
In other communities, they will fight density because of the number of students entering the school, which has a verifiable cost to the taxpayer. Our school has been losing enrollment.
They got some space up
So
there.
we've
We
got.
got lots of room, we
room to
got
spare,
lots of empty
yeah.
schools here.
Well, we're just seeing if we could do something. I mean,
Oh, one recommendation, since this is going to require a change in zone and, you know, potentially all kinds of variances, if you can get buy-in from the surrounding property owners before you go through a lot of legwork, that will streamline the process. Like, I heard Aristof's mention earlier, they've got a major parcel that's contiguous to this one.
They got 30 acres next to it.
Yeah.
this is swampy size next time.
Well, you know they're not likely to develop it, but just make sure that they're not gonna fight.
Or if they'd be on board with it,
Yeah.
changing the whole parcel right down, then that would be maybe an easier sell and not so much a spot zoning change
Exactly.
if they,
They're
was
not gonna
also.
sell this.
No, but I mean,
Farming.
yeah, but
Yeah,
if,
because
if,
they put more money, I
if
mean,
it-
they're gonna pay more in taxes. And that's what happened with the back property here. We originally wanted to put nice homes back there, but the village stopped us because they wanted him to pave the whole road. You're talking,
Birds and stuff.
we needed to subdivide everything, so you're saying put it on the tax roll, be outrageous and taxes for us to lose it.
I don't
So
know.
we're not being, you know,
Yeah,
that's
I-
not being
yeah,
smart.
that may be the same thing that here, Doreen, as far as like the development of the parcel, like, let's say the water main wasn't big enough to accommodate this parcel where you're feeding on Myers. You'd be, these are the types of things that you have to do prior to, you know, putting money in.
The Myers house is,
Well, like I said, he wanted us to curve everything blacktop and then put everything on the tax roll. You can't afford to do that.
Myers
It's a
house
big
right here,
expense, isn't it?
there's a 16-inch water main on this side of the road right here,
That kind of sucks.
16-inch. There's
We're
two lines
wasting
in this
time.
road.
If you, I don't wanna change anything, I know you're doing everything here,
No.
but if you,
You're going
just
in
a
the right
thought,
direction.
because you just mentioned putting everything on tax rolls. If perchance you reconsidered what was going on before, paving, curbing houses, and this board said, we'll give you some time to not be taxed, so you can sell them, so you weren't taxed.
Yeah, because what we used to do, and that's back in Saddle Grove time, his father and Tony as well, we would subdivide 3 lots, which you could do, because you could, you know, pretty much sell homes.
Right.
And that
You
wasn't
put
bad.
Three on the tax roll is
That's not bad, but when you have to put 12 houses
Yeah.
on the tax roll, come on. that's
If,
really-
if the planning board comes back with a negative report on all these houses,
Mhm.
and you thought of possibly going back to the regular houses, then this board will consider, because that's, I wanna see it developed. And I understand the burden it's gonna put on you without being able to sell each one. If this board would consider splitting it up like that, and I don't know, I have to ask, I would like to see it happen. Just think about that as a consideration, because I would love to see that. And us give you a break on the taxes so you can get rid of them, and then tax everyone you sold it to.
This needs to go to the planning board, and then we'll get what questions need answered from you. And
If they're
then,
gonna, meet on Thursday, I'll be here.
yeah, but
I can answer a lot of the questions. but-
Well.
Okay, then,
If it
I'll tell you what,
comes, yeah.
I'll meet you here on Thursday, and you bring the plans in and just
We're not gonna-
maybe
Yeah.
do a little more
You
homework
can
as
have it
far
for a
as
couple days, you may wanna give it.
the answers to the questions of the size conduit speed, this, how you're gonna run the drainage, how you're gonna run the water.
Exactly.
No,
Then just
the
sell it
drainage is
to-
already in.
Yeah,
And that's, exactly, that's
It
the only thing we
drains,
want.
it drains
That's all we're
all,
looking to do.
And I can
Build
sell
a
it to
parkway.
anyone.
yeah, but I,
Because it's
you know, when
good
you're
land,
adding more,
and you don't know what they're gonna do.
you're adding more
So
here.
we're trying to do this for the village.
There's a whole lot of runoff
just
now,
for
and there's
us.
more water consumption in
Not saying
sewer.
we're not.
You just have to, they're gonna ask questions, though, can this
Okay.
handle that? And without an engineer's report, it's kinda hard to, you know, I think it does, but a lot of these questions, so you may say, you know, Tony, you gotta hire an engineer at this point, will it fly? It may fly if you have this done, at least you'll have some answers for you, and know where you gotta go from there, but it's not something that we can address here.
Okay, that's
You know, so
cool.
it's-
Now, do we have to come again, can we have this conversation privately, or do we have to come here? and-
We can have it privately, and of course,
I prefer
it's
that
not,
than being on
yeah.
TV.
Yeah, me too.
Well, well, that's the thing also, is that basically, I'd love to see every step with the exception of the final presentation. We need to be at that point of, we're either changing or not changing it when you come back. So that's the thing, we don't wanna do a half-hour thing here. The rest of this business will be done, and as far as this board's concerned, off meeting, getting to the point of, this is the proposal, are you changing it or not changing it, that's it.
Mhm.
That way, don't waste your time, don't waste,
Right,
okay?
Because
exactly.
I don't know what any of the zoning is or requirements that they have to give approval
Okay,
today, so, you know, I'm sure there's all kinds of guidelines on a subdivision that we're not aware of, and that's not something that we can really make a decision on, because
I understand,
know
but even
everything
the
else.
last meeting, he was at, they said to bring a sketch. I
Well, we
know
won't-
that, and that's what we've done,
And
that's
we
why we're
did,
here.
we did, because we wanted to get some idea going
Okay.
forward.
So now you
But
do.
we got that, to be at Thursday night's planning board meeting, because I gotta go anyway, and we'll talk to Jimmy, and we'll see.
Okay,
He may have some help for you going forward.
all right, so we're gonna leave this with you to.
You can leave it forward, or you can put
Leave
more.
all this with you.
Okay.
I'll hang on to this, I'll hang on to this.
Yep,
I'll
Then
give
we
it
got
to you
one
Thursday.
copy.
okay, thank you,
All
thank
right.
you for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Take care. Public comment. We'll do that. Anything else? No? Or comment? Yeah.
I'd like to ask Bill to address the board about a technique that is a necessity as land trusts come into the village and purchase properties. If we take certain actions, we may have the ability to deny making it a tax exempt property if we're not designating it as public parklands. Section 420?
420B, like in Boyd. There are two kinds of exemption. One is a mandatory exemption, that's under the real property tax law, charitable organizations and religious organizations, like the churches and things of that sort. There are other organizations that call themselves not-for-profit, but they don't fit in the strict definitions of mandatory. And if we passed a local law that said where we are permitted, the so-called permissive taxing, we will tax not-for-profit activity of the organizations on the real estate that they own within the village. And it just occurred to me that maybe this would be another, I guess I'll call it arrow in the quiver of the village that is working very hard to maximize the utilization of what property remains in the village and under its own control. So if that's a little, I'll bring in a sample of it and see
Don't-
if that
don't
needs
sample
to
it.
work.
Yeah.
Do it,
Can we
please.
set a date for a public hearing?
Yeah, I would like I'd like a motion to set a date for a public hearing.
So moved.
A public hearing to pass this
Yeah,
law.
permissive tax.
I need a second. Second. Next question.
I'm just wondering,
Was it for?
well, is it sort of the cat being out of the bag now, sort of?
Well, no, this is for everything also.
Okay,
That's, my other question is what people don't understand is there's about 35, well, anyone who's off
It's
now,
not-
they
it's not
grandfathered?
Owners, there's not owners and there's not grandfathering. Going forward, who qualifies, who doesn't?
Right, but what about people in the past that don't fall under it?
Doesn't matter.
What about reviewing a property? Would this kind of, subject to review?
Yes.
If conditions change there?
Yes, it would, grievance and
With this
otherwise.
law? We don't have that now.
Nope.
Okay, then I'm on board with that.
I am 100% on board with that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
You haven't set the date.
You with me?
Yeah.
We'd have to do a month, right?
No, what's the minimum number of days?
Well, you'd have to advertise for the hearing. You have to tell when you want the hearing, but you need at least, probably 10 days for that.
All right, following meeting then.
2 weeks?
Your
from
next
today.
meeting, you have reorg, you have the tentative budget hearing, and you have your regular meeting. You want to throw another,
Yeah,
am I gonna have that bill that I can have it
We gotta have
presented for
that.
people to look
that's a
at?
priority now. Cool?
Yeah, I'll get it as soon as we can possibly put it together. I don't know that we can do it within 2 weeks, but we'll try.
If we can, our goal is gonna be 2 weeks. If we can't, we put it off to the following meeting.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
Thank you.
Well,
We're setting it for 2 weeks.
April 6th,
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Wait a minute, April 6th that is a meeting, isn't it? It's not a work session.
No, it's a regular meeting.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
What's that, Gina?
It'll be 20th of April, if we can't do that.
Question?
just thinking of the time factor here, it's pretty tight.
It is tight.
You're better off probably saying that second meeting in April for the public
Do you need
hearing.
more time?
We have to really make sure we're doing this right. instead of-
All right, second meeting in April.
We'll do it.
Thanks, Jan.
You can have a special, you
By
could have a special
virtue
meeting.
of setting this date, is the village showing intent that could prevent the removal of large swaths of land coming off the tax roll between now and then?
Well, it can only go one way. This is a go, no-go game. Either you are or you're not.
I don't know if
And
he's
if
gonna
we,
be ready.
you know, up until now, you've always been, and now we're gonna thin that herd out. And it'll be thinner based on when we have this all done. The village role,
Here's my question. Let's say between now and then, there's an acquisition,
yeah,
and we don't have this in place.
when it gets in place, it will take effect.
Back.
No, forward, but it will take it will take its place. We can't tax backward.
No, I'm not talking about taxing backwards, I'm saying a property,
Status, the moment it comes in.
that's what I'm asking.
The moment that we pass the law, although it has recently been acquired, for example, it will become taxed from the time that we pass the law.
Okay.
Oh,
That's fine.
even if they
Now,
purchase
that
the
will come,
property?
that will come as a result of taxable status date.
Oh, okay, good, then we're okay.
We're fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Second meeting in April,
That'll do.
done. Good?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Good, Mr. Brown?
Public comment? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, actually, you did.
I'm sorry, I thought you finished with that. I apologize.
We're good?
I'm not talking,
Go ahead.
did I interrupt
Tim?
something?
Not at all?
I made my name's Tim Donovan, I made a proposal a couple of weeks ago to provide energy supply to the municipal sites. There are, I think there's currently 16 or 17 different sites.
Oh, I'm sorry. Tim, do me a favor, come up here by Bill, so that we can get you on camera.
Oh.
Okay,
So the people at home can see, oh, now he's gonna take the glasses off, like you said.
Go smile.
Nice.
Little pancake.
So I made a proposal to provide energy supply to the community's municipal facilities. The key feature of our proposal, which is called, the name of the company is called Constellation Energy. It's one of the largest energy producing companies in the country. We produce energy. Is that we can provide a fixed rate for, which is fixed and fully bundled for up to 48 months. So what that does is that controls budgetary expenditures.
Is there a maximum? You have a guaranteed collar?
There's a guarantee collar, there's a guarantee floor, there is no
You don't care about the guarantee on the floor.
there is no, there are no bandwidth charges,
Mhm.
there are no management charges. It's one fee, and it's
We
a
have a
very,
treasurer who's really, could be,
Right, we have that,
Good point,
we have
Jason.
that information too and
oh,
whatnot.
do we? Okay.
Yeah, Tim actually just wanted to come, because I wanted him to actually give the board from him rather than
I see.
us just talking about information. I think it was key that he, because there's a couple points of this program that are different from other programs, and that's all I wanted him to point out.
there are no variable costs.
That's a key.
There's no variation in it, and it can be locked in for up to 48 months, because we are a large energy producer.
So,
Yes,
if that's the case, then if the normal power supplier runs out of contracts of electricity and they have to go to the spot market,
right.
they charge the customer 4 times or a very high rate, because they've had to pay a high rate. We don't get that, is that right?
Correct, it's at one set fee.
Okay.
There's no variation on that rate.
Do you have to include the capacity zone rate?
There are no capacity charges in our program.
Otherwise, this is a fixed, what's called
Fixed,
fixed.
fully bundled. And it can be applied, there are 4 sites that we've looked at, and we can actually make it happen. See, the thing about electric power, it's a daily rate.
We know.
Oh, so,
One of us
a
is
rate
there.
that, let's say, for instance, a rate that I gave the proposal on, which was for instance, that if we were to sign it that day, it would have been that rate. It is no longer that rate. And our exchange closed at 8 o'clock, so we will go on, if you wanted to do this, for those 4 sites, rather than all 16, which I would recommend the 4 first, just to see how we function, and then what we do is we put a call limit that locks in the rate. I could do that tomorrow. But
How does
it's,
that compare with what we're paying now, do you know?
from a rate perspective, it's very close. From a from a variable perspective, we will never, ours will never go up
Do you know whether
in
or
the
not,
contract.
do you know whether or not we've had that experience here in the village bills?
There are variable rates based upon capacity,
Yeah.
which was actually one of the key questions.
Okay.
Because there are charges for when more energy is used. Typically, most marketing companies in energy, they set a price, they'll give you a fixed price,
18 cents?
or even 10 cents, or even 9 cents, or whatever it may be, whatever the price may be. But then there is most frequently, there is a capacity charge, both for floor as well as for usage, and it could be up to 25%. Can be pretty high.
Are there taxes associated with this consumption that are not associated, that are, let me put it up, are you exempt from some of the taxes that electric companies have to pay?
We are not exempt from any taxes. What we've found is that there are no management user fees in this, so those costs are actually bundled in. So those are not variable either.
And so, in the hot days of August,
That's when the rates are
the rates are high, but you would give us a fixed rate.
completely fixed, fully bundled.
And the same in the wintertime when it's really cold and we,
It's the exact same rate,
okay.
and it's up to
It's up to
48
the
months.
village. You go,
And
you flesh it out.
you're a power generator as well?
Yes, we're a power supplier. We
Where-
generate power.
Where
Do you
does the
really
power
generate?
come from?
All sources.
You buy it all over the Northeast?
We produce it,
You
and
produce it.
it's all over the country.
Where's your generation places?
I think it's 36 states, but it can't be, and now I'm on camera.
Okay.
So I actually don't know precisely.
Okay.
Much bigger than my pay grade.
So you're searching the grid for cheaper rates?
We actually produce energy and put it into the grid.
Okay, all right.
Do you produce it in the Northeast or do you produce it elsewhere?
We produce it largely across the country.
But not in Canada.
I'm not actually certain about that, but I do know that we're the largest supplier in the United States.
Okay. sounds interesting for the board to.
And as I say, the rates do change on a daily
Right,
basis.
and that's, we have the information downstairs for anyone who wants to take a look at it. We need to, I would like to, either yes or no on this as soon as possible, only because of the rate changes before it gets to, because they're gonna start going up with the, as the summer comes.
We have a little bit of time on that, but you still want to make sure that you.
Right.
You understand the entirety. It seems very simple and very direct. Now, what we want is Ed to be able to tell us, this is what we're paying, this is what we will pay.
Right.
And you want that.
And the question is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? Or will
Right.
it continue to rise?
Yeah, we have to also see if we've had the experience of having to pay day rate electricity from the supplier who's presently supplying.
And what are the four buildings you would apply
You know
this
something,
to?
I don't have those.
Oh,
It's all downstairs. I think what Tim pulled out though was ones that,
Orange and
similar, right, similar, we're dealing with similar companies on the other 16. He pulled out 4 that were not,
But those are Orange and Rockland.
right, they were just Orange and Rockland.
So they're
They
subject
weren't
to-
other companies that do similar what he's got.
They're subject to the swings of the market, which.
and they're asking for a rate increase.
13% increase or something like
That's what
that.
they're, yeah, something real high they're asking
Yeah.
for.
So that's, those are the 4 that
It's a
I.
good time to come.
Yes.
It's a nice time to be here.
Thank you.
At an opportune moment.
So if everyone would, take a look at it over the next 2 weeks,
Okay.
and then it'll be on the agenda for,
Will it be
our next
on
meeting.
the table downstairs?
it's down, yes, it's
Oh.
downstairs.
Okay. And the example rate that I used, which was in effect last week, it's already gone up.
Well, just tell us what it is and
What's today's
tell
rate?
somebody what it is.
If we locked in today, what would we be paying a kilowatt hour?
It's too late today.
No, I mean tomorrow.
It's 8 o'clock.
I mean,
This
By
month?
two- we
Yeah.
by 10 minutes.
Last week, when I gave the paper, and it was 8.4.
okay.
8.4 cents per kilowatt hour.
That's what it was.
really good.
That's substantially cheaper than Orange Rock, huh?
Yeah.
Well, so, and that's
Oh,
what it
but
was.
then you add the
But that's what it was
taxes.
then. That's a fully bundled package. So, I would recommend haste. if you
Okay,
can. Thank you very much.
Thank you, appreciate it.
thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for helping us.
Boy, O&R
Thank
only
you.
pays 6 cents a kilowatt hour to buy the power.
Any other public comment? Board comment? Charlie?
Oh, I already commented.
Mr. Brown?
Yes, since this is my last board meeting,
Careful, Charlie. You're gonna fall off the edge.
I want to say to the board, it's been a pleasure working with you. I've enjoyed it, and it's kind of bittersweet leaving. And I'm quite sure the board will continue to take the village in the right direction. And it's been a pleasure
Mr. Brown,
for your service.
you've been a very diligent board member. So many meetings you've been here and I showed up, and it's wonderful to have met you and made your acquaintance.
Well, thank
You've
you.
been a wonderful member.
Thank you for your service. And to the News of the Highlands and Ms. Pitts, I've enjoyed the way you've covered the meetings and everything.
Thank you.
And the coverage that you've given me at certain times, I really appreciate it. And to our treasurer, it's been nice working with you.
A pleasure serving with you, certainly.
And,
Thanks for your service.
and again, I would like to say to all the employees and all the departments, department heads, police department, dispatchers, firemen, fire departments, ambulance corps, Fort Montgomery, and Highland Falls. It's been a pleasure over the last 22 years, and I thank you again for your support. And I really truly thank the awesome administrative department, one of the best in the county. And May God continue to bless you and your families and keep you healthy. And the last thing I'd like to say, I love all of you, and nothing you can do about it.
Just a reminder, April 6th, we have the reorg, regular board meeting on April 6th as well. Public hearing for a tentative budget on April 6th. Budget workshop. Today is Monday. Wednesday is election day. For those that weren't at Mr. Brown's brunch, he made a very passionate call for everyone to come out and vote. So please, it's noon to 9 at Sacred Heart. And that's this Wednesday, March 18th. Any other?
One more thing too, I forgot to thank the camera operator, Mr. Coffee.
We'll let him know.
Thank you.
I got a couple quotes. We've got another quote coming in on the senior center doors, so we won't have that matter.
Right.
The next meeting will address that.
Excellent.
Okay?
Good to go. Anything else?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Good to go? I need a
Motion to adjourn?
motion to adjourn?
No.
You got a little treasure time. Budget.
Exact or just budget?
Just brief 5 minutes of budget.
Okay.
And then I need to just give you the stuff for tomorrow.
Over here?
David? Yeah, David back there? We're gonna go in executive.
Oh, okay, we are
session.
going to exec, and then we'll do budget, okay?
Okay, go out of executive.
Mr. Brown, can you give us a motion on the final meeting?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank
You're
you.
motioning to
Thank you.
executive session.
Motioning into executive session.